Okay, you're good, Sam.
It's being live streamed. Can someone try just saying something so we can make sure we can hear you?
Okay, this is Vernon.
Okay, for the microphone, it says choose echo canceling speakerphone. It's chosen, and the speaker is Creston Intel Display Audio. Volumes up.
See, can can someone try saying something again, see if it works this time?
We can hear you.
Okay,
we can,
yeah,
we,
hear you
we
too.
can hear you.
All right,
We were not hearing you, so
Okay.
that appears to be fixed.
great.
What did we change?
Yeah. All right, welcome everyone to the May Food Policy Council Leadership Team meeting. Yeah, nice to see you all again this morning. Okay, let's get started with our icebreaker question I had for today is coming up with our Food Policy Council summer playlist. Since it's Memorial Day weekend, summer is coming. Yeah, is there a song, a band, an album, something you've been listening to recently that you've been enjoying? And feel free to pass if there's nothing that's coming to mind.
Reference my Spotify.
Yeah, pull out your Spotify, see what you've been listening to. And can I ask you to start because you are here and also you're a
You like
music
music.
person. Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I went to a concert 2 weekends ago to see Silkworm and Come, and I don't expect for any of you to know either of those bands, but Come was really excellent. That will be COME, not like legitimate word. 90s indie rock.
Sounds right on my alley.
All right, and they were loud and great, and then I went and listened to a bunch of their music because I enjoyed it so much.
Cool.
Nice.
That's what's on my playlist.
Yeah. Thanks, Sam.
Okay, yeah, I got a speaker, so I've been listening to tunes out in the field and listen to a lot of oldies, but I think are oldies. So what came to mind is Out of Touch by Hall & Oates. We listen to a lot.
Nice. Sounds good. All right, let's see. Davey, do you want to go next?
Sure. I don't know that this is something I want to be on my playlist, but something that is on forever on a loop in our house right now is the soundtrack for K-pop Demon Hunters. My son continues to be obsessed with it and seems to be all we listen to. So there's that. There's something I would like to not be on my playlist, but it's still there.
Yeah, I totally relate to that. I've also been listening to that kind of nonstop. It's really frustrating when I'm like driving to work this morning and like singing this song in my
Yes.
why is it just always
Yes, it just never ends.
yeah. All right, let's see. Vernon, do you want to go next?
Yes, so I am going to attend a concert, a Diana Ross concert later this summer. And so I'm already singing and thinking about several of Diana Ross's songs. And so that's what's been going through my head in preparation of the concert.
That sounds like fun.
Yes, Atlantic City.
Nice, enjoy.
That does sound like fun. I didn't even know Diana Ross was still touring.
I actually went to Denver last year, I think it was. She was in concert in Denver, up in the mountains, and I actually met some friends out there, and I went there last year, and she's my favorite artist. So She's coming to Atlantic City in August, and I'll be there.
That's so cool.
Wasn't she on the
Great.
Times Square New
I
Year's
guess
Eve?
I'll go next. I've been listening to everything Ella Langley lately. Like that's been like on repeat. I'm sure I'll get sick of it at some point.
Cool, thanks, Christy. All right, let's see. Tim, do you want to go?
Oh yeah. I have my playlist. I've subscribed to Apple Music, so that's like been super awesome. But when I'm not on Apple Music, I've been listening to just the good old radio, and like I don't know. Sabrina Carpenter has been kind of catchy. I don't know what it is. Just it's like I don't know. I can't get it out of my head sometimes.
Yeah. Cool, thanks, Tim. All right, so we have Juliana and then Carla.
All right. Good
Um,
morning, go ahead,
no,
Carla.
go ahead. I was just gonna ask, I missed what the question was. I kind
Oh,
of,
yeah, sorry, it's just a song or a band or something you've been
okay,
listening to. You've been
okay,
listening to recently.
gotcha.
Music, like especially in the summertime, I always listen to Bob Marley. He's one of my favorite artists. And also this Brazilian singer called Jorge Ben. He makes like an Afro-Brazilian music, which is so much fun.
All right.
All right, thanks, Juliana. Carla, go ahead.
So I have been listening to this song called Waymaker. It's a Christian song by Leland, and the live version is just like my all-time favorite. Like the live version with there's a guest artist that sings a part of it. It is like it's been my go-to, especially because right now life is just like work is just all over the place, winding down with all the inspections and audits and all the things, all the state and federal everything. Like that is like my go-to right now to keep me afloat so I don't lose.
Nice, yeah, it's good. It's good to have something like that to, like you're saying, to keep you afloat.
Carla, that's an awesome song, and that's one of my go-tos as well.
All right, well, thanks everyone for sharing. We'll, yeah, I'll have to put together our playlist, share it out with everyone. Okay.
Say what was yours? Or
Oh, I
came
didn't
up
share.
Demon Hunters.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's definitely what we've been listening to the most. I would say kind of similar to you, Anna. I had seen a show a little while ago. There's a band called Lawrence that I hadn't really heard of, but I've been listening to them a lot since, and it's been really fun. Been enjoying it. All right, let's share screen with the agenda here. So we do our public comment, approval of meeting minutes, come back to this leadership team member presentation. Then we have our working group updates, some follow-up from our retreat a few weeks ago. One thing we didn't get to at our retreat was talking more about kind of the role of the leadership team, or just kind of, ways that we might want to, things we might want to adjust about how the leadership team works, and then some wrap-up announcements and things. So that's what we have in store for this morning. So yeah, I guess we have, that brings us to public comment on the agenda. Juanita, thanks for coming back and joining us. You're definitely our top visitor at the Food Policy Council, which is great. Is there yeah, anything you want to share with the council this morning?
I don't think there was any announcements from Liberty, except that we are still working to connect our Montgomery County residents with food resources in the we recently were we did the sorry, pull up the
Yeah, that's fine.
recently went to the Bucks Montgomery Collab Summit. There had been one of the members of food policy was there. I cannot remember her name, sorry, but we did connect there, and she did talk to me about some of the stuff as far as pantries for the area.
Shannon? Maybe? That's what I was wondering. Shannon, does that sound familiar?
I would know her face before I knew her name.
I don't have a picture of her. But
I'm not sure what her first name is, but I know her by sight.
Got it. Well, good. I'm glad you were able to connect there at that summit. Shannon should be coming to this meeting. She told me she's going to be probably a little bit late, so hopefully you'll recognize her.
if it wasn't her though, she would be a great person to connect with. She's very down.
Yeah, she helps me with a lot of resources when it comes to food pantries that deliver, because our consumers, they have physical disabilities that may stop them from picking up groceries and stuff. We try to look for deliveries. I think the last time we met, it was discussion about another shared food program factory. Or
Yeah, there's so Carla from Share is on the call here, and they do have a new warehouse in Lansdale that they're kind of getting more operational to increase distribution of food out to pantries.
just text me to the supervisor, make sure I'm leaving.
All right, I think maybe we'll move on to the agenda, but if there's anything that Latoya does want to bring up, then you can, feel free to jump in and let us know. But yeah, thanks for coming back. All right, so our April meeting minutes, last time we had kind of presentation, I guess, from Pat McKernan, the director of HHS, talking about kind of the role of Food Policy Council within HHS and kind of coordination with other HHS offices, and some of the opportunities and challenges kind of right now. Our working group reports. I talked about our upcoming general membership meeting, new policy committee. And yeah, I had time to talk a little bit about some of these other, the Pottstown Cluster Survey with leading to this partnership with Trellis for Tomorrow to do some garden education at pantries, and some of the food waste diversion that Man on Man Street was interested in. So yeah, any questions, comments on our April meeting minutes? Right, not seeing any. I'm gonna stop my screen share here then. Let's do a vote. All those in favor of approving the April meeting minutes, do a hand or a thumbs up or yay. So let's see, I got most folks, Davey and Carla, if you could do some kind of virtual vote. Thanks, Davey. All right. So one thing at the end of the, so approve the leadership to the April meeting minutes. Then next on the agenda is a leadership team member presentation. So this is one thing that we had been doing at the beginning of the our first few Food Policy Council meetings, and it was something that Juliana provided some feedback, kind of leading up to the retreat, that it would be a nice thing to bring back, to try and just like learn a little bit more about the work that everyone on the leadership team is doing. So I had meant to reach out and ask if anyone wanted to these were like pretty short 5 minutes, just kind of overview of the work and some things that are coming up that are exciting, some of the challenges that you've been working on as well. But I hadn't reached out. I forgot to reach out and ask if anyone wanted to do that this morning. So I will offer the opportunity if anyone wants to, speak for 5 minutes about your work, just so folks on the leadership team can get more of an understanding of it. But also, if no one's feeling like volunteering, being put on the spot in that way, we can skip it for this time and plan for it more next time. So anyone interested in doing a quick overview of their work?
Sam, do you mean overview of our work as it relates to the Food Policy Council or just in general?
Just in general.
Sure. I mean, I'm happy to share.
Great. Thanks, Davey.
Yeah, of course. So I think most of you know that I started as Chief Sustainability Officer in the county back in August and started an entirely new department in the county as well. And so a lot of my work has been sort of building up this department and helping to define the county's objectives around sustainability, just more broadly. Over the past 5 months, I've been involved in a sort of sustainability planning process, and Sam sits on our sustainability committee to help with that plan. Food is certainly part of sustainability in my mind, and wanted to do it justice in acknowledging sort of food systems and how they intersect with, a number of departments across our county. And in addition to that, I've also been kind of incorporating things like energy, sort of clean energy usage, transportation, open space, water systems, sort of community resilience, and emergency preparedness. So just a really wide variety of things that are incorporated into our definition of sustainability in the county. And hoping that we will be done with that plan by the end of the year, with something, to present to the public, at least in draft form by the end of June, early July. In addition to that, a lot of my work has been taken up unexpectedly by data centers and data center issues, and holding events and conferences around data centers. But then in addition to that, some of the other, recent achievements that we've had include setting up a revision to the county's procurement policy. So anticipate that being voted on by our commissioners at the next board meeting, to incorporate sustainability practices into the way we do procurement. And then also the establishment of a green bank in the county that can help to lend to municipalities in support of, the goals that we're going to outline in the sustainability plan. I'm not sure if that's what you were looking for, Sam, but happy to answer any questions or add to what I said.
Yeah, no, that was great. Thanks so much for the overview there. Does anyone have questions for Davey about any of those projects, things that she mentioned?
Can you give me a 30-second explanation of what a green bank is?
Yeah, absolutely. A green bank is like a traditional bank in that it gives out loans, but the loans that it gives out are for sort of greening or sustainability related purposes, right? So many green banks in the United States are established to give out loans, for example, for clean energy projects. And so if a business or a homeowner wants to take out a loan to install solar on their roof, they might go to a green bank to take out that loan rather than to, a traditional bank. The bank that I'm interested in starting is certainly includes loans for clean energy, but also ideally for other types of projects as well. And in my mind, some of the gap in financing is really for municipalities to undertake those types of projects. So they would be my target audience. I think, again, many green banks are there for residents and for businesses, and they would certainly be included in, the kinds of folks that I would hope would take out loans. But my target audience for this green bank is municipalities, and could also include things around like green stormwater infrastructure or things around open space as well. So a lot of the great work that the Planning Commission does, and kind of adding to potential sources of funding for municipalities.
Thanks. I just, Debbie, correct me if I'm wrong too, but I think also green banks are used, to define banks that aren't, investing in fossil fuels.
Yes.
So that's a big, interest, because obviously a lot of the really well-known big banks are investing in things like fossil fuels that are not.
Yeah, so it's certainly for the projects that a green bank would lend towards, again, are for more sustainable, outcomes in our world. So so yeah, they wouldn't by definition they wouldn't be, investing in projects for, drilling for oil or something like that. Yeah.
That's great. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
I was just realizing as you were talking about the sustainability plan a little bit, Davey, that it probably makes sense just to say a little bit more about that for folks on the leadership team here. I guess I'll speak a little bit to the food systems piece, and then you can correct me if I'm misrepresenting parts of the overall process. But there are a few different like subcommittees that are working on different aspects of the sustainability plan. And so food systems is like within one of those subcommittees with a few other topics like transportation and green building infrastructure and things like that. But so there are a few like folks from Weaver's Way and Martha's Community Farm and Health Spark Foundation, like other people who are interested in the food systems work who have been part of that subcommittee. And Davey and I were talking about it the other day of kind of essentially the place where we are now is putting together recommendations to include in the plan that focus around kind of food waste reduction, around like land use, sustainable land use, and maybe some procurement as well. So we'll be working on putting together those recommendations, and then just kind of thinking now as you were talking about, Davey, that as that plan, when you're in that public comment period for the plan, that's something maybe we could, as the leadership team, also look at it and see if there's other input or ideas for, particularly for the food systems piece of it, but for kind of the plan in general as well.
Yeah, I think it would be great for members of the Food Policy Council to take a look at the draft when we're ready. The reason that we're doing it sort of in this phased way is that I'm planning on being as ambitious as I possibly can be in this plan, and including sort of target setting for the county. And so I'm looking at county operations, but then other ways that we can work through partners to achieve, larger outcomes across the county as well. And I would like our commissioners to have a preview of that before we go too far down that planning process. And for that reason, I want there to be, that early draft, like I said, at the end of June, early July, for not only the commissioners, but also the general public to get a sense of, where we're headed, and especially for the commissioners to say yay or nay on certain things. So I expect that there will be some type of like, not walking back, but some adjustments that we may need to do on some of those targets after they take a look. But to your point, Sam, there are 3 subcommittees. So I've divided it into the vibrant economy, sort of resilient communities, and healthy environment. sort of subcommittees, and each of those subcommittees has about 3 to 4 different sub areas that they're, looking at. So the resilient communities one, as I mentioned, has food systems in it, along with a few others as well. And again, the goal is to kind of define the state that we're at in the county, help define objectives and targets for county operations, and then help also think through how it can work with partners to achieve county-wide impact as well.
Sounds great. Yeah, thanks for sharing a little bit more info there. Yeah, go ahead.
Is there a list of community gardens that are accessible to the public in Montgomery County?
Yeah, we do have through the planning commission, there's a map. It includes farms. It's called Field to Families map. So it's it includes farms, and you can filter by different kind of activities or different type of like things that farms offer. But the map also includes community gardens.
What's the website to have access to those?
Yeah, I can, I have it saved on my computer. I don't know like the link off the top of my head, but I can email it to you after the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Just making a note to do that. All right, any other questions or comments for Davey? Great, well, thank you, Davey, for jumping in with no preparation. Appreciate it. All right, so yeah, I think with that, then we can move on to next item on our agenda, which are working group updates. So yeah, first on the list is the Farmer Development Working Group. We essentially had a good last meeting where we kind of finalized like the details for the mentorship program. So now basically all we need to do is like get the kind of final materials together to be able to promote the program, and then send it out and start opening up the application process. So my goal had been to do that like in the next week or two. I'm a little behind, but I'm hoping that still maybe closer to 2 weeks. But yeah, it's exciting. I think that the way that we've kind of talked about and worked to set up the mentorship program seems like it will work. So we'll see how it goes and what we learn from it. But I feel like it's been a kind of thoughtful process. So
What's the application deadline that we just had?
that's a good question. I don't remember.
All right, well, maybe it's still not decided. Okay.
Yeah, it's probably, so the goal is to open it like beginning of June. I'm guessing we gave a month or 6 weeks, something like that. But yeah, have the timeline just not in front of me directly.
Since it's a smaller group, I feel like we're gonna be, reaching out to specific people that we have in mind to apply. So it's targeted distribution too.
Yeah.
Yeah, including general.
Yeah.
Cool.
Any questions on the farmer mentorship program? I can share with everyone, I'll make notes for this too, just to send like the program overview document that we have. So I know we've talked about it a bit, but just so you all have it and can reference it. And if you have questions, you can always reach out. All right, so next we have the food security working group, the awareness campaign. We are, yeah, I think still looking at September as the launch for that campaign. That coincides with Hunger Action Month. So last time, our last meeting, we spent a little while thinking about what a kickoff event for that might look like. We talked about potentially doing like a film screening and having a discussion afterwards. Yeah, I wouldn't say we landed on that, but it seemed like something people were interested in. So we talked about that, and then also the kind of story collection process that we would want to collect like 5 or 6, maybe a few more stories of, folks who have experienced food insecurity and are willing to have those stories be told. So just thought through a little bit like what we would need to do and how that process would work. So yeah, those are both things kind of continuing to plan, and we'll kind of bring back to our next meeting. I also just met with Teresa, our public health communications manager. I don't remember if it was this week or last week, but to work on some more of the campaign plan and build out kind of the timeline and some of the other materials that we'll need to be able to hit our September deadline. So yeah, that's continuing to move along.
Are you referring to the Just Harvest where you can submit your stories on food insecurity? I've seen a flyer.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad that you've seen it. Because yeah, I've been working with Just Harvest to try and get that out. That one is specifically about SNAP. So they were asking for stories about people who have been impacted by changes to SNAP. I think for this, we're looking for kind of just more general stories about like people who, yeah, have experienced food insecurity and are willing to share about what that experience has been like. But I think if people are seeing that Just Harvest flyer and are sharing their story there, that's maybe something we can try and like reconnect with some of those folks.
Is there a flyer for this one?
Not yet. That's part of what we need to get to.
I was just gonna ask, is there like another example or from another city or a campaign that you guys have used as inspiration, or are there other successful examples of this?
Yeah, I definitely have one in mind. I tried to pull it up during our last meeting, but I couldn't find it quickly.
Curious what this looks like visually.
Yeah, that was one thing we talked about as well, kind of like once we collect stories, kind of how exactly are they shared on the website. So yeah, this one example that is from Food Policy Council in Western Mass. I don't remember exactly where, but they have on their website, I don't know, it's like 10 or so basically kind of like profiles, people you can kind of click on, and then they have more information about, that person and their experience and their kind of goals, things that they would like to see change, that kind of thing. So imagining something along those lines. Yeah. Any other questions about the educational campaign, the awareness campaign? Right. For our network development working group, I think, yeah, last time the leadership team I shared, we've had like just about 200, I think it might be up to 250 now, people who have visited the resource guide, which is great. So continuing to update that. But then, yeah, also, I think it was the same day as our last leadership team meeting, we had our first lunch and learn, which went really well. I wasn't able to attend, but Rachel helped kind of co-facilitate it. So do you want to share a little bit about how it went, Rachel?
Sure, yeah. I mean, Jahan, who is a general member and a member of the network development group, who's also a former at Tourism Set, has played a huge part of this. It's his idea also, and So I just want to give him a shout out, because his facilitation was, I think it was a good balance between conversation and also sharing some facts to kind of prompt and probe, questions throughout the call. So yeah, I think the reason why there's many reasons, I suppose, why it was so positive is we had just like a well-rounded group we had two different local food waste composting businesses who were able to offer like a little bit of just obviously industry knowledge. And then a few folks from different pantries, a few just, local citizens, some farmers. So it just felt like we had a really, diverse group of folks who all had different angles of what food waste meant. And yeah, I think we're still trying to figure out like what the outcome of these conversations looks like translates to the leadership team. So maybe it's just some, small ideas like a workshop or, another convening of folks, but I think we're still kind of like, how does this become maybe like action items? Or does it need action items is the question. So open to any thoughts on that. Maybe we just organically see how it goes too, but.
Well, yeah, just to say that from this first one, kind of two like concrete outcomes. One was this connection between Nana on Main Street, who we talked about last time, was looking for kind of a source for to divert some of the spoiled produce that they receive. So they, connected with two composting companies who were there, who said like, yeah, we're going to follow up. We're going to see if we can create, some kind of partnership here. So I think that's a really positive outcome. And then another one was kind of an interest that was expressed during the meeting and doing kind of like workshops about like at-home composting. So yeah, Davey and I talked about that recently, and and we're gonna try and put something together to be able to meet that need. So yeah, those are kind of two outcomes from the meeting or from this lunch and learn. One other thing, our last network development working group meeting, as we were kind of reflecting on that, we said, given that this one seemed to be a success, we're going to plan another one. I think we said July 11th, mid-July, for the next lunch and learn. That we were also talking about different topics to focus on, and we decided the next one is going to be on kind of climate change and impact on the food system. Thinking that issues that, as Rachel mentioned, that can kind of bring diverse sets of stakeholders or people to the table, and ones that don't have other spaces that the Food Policy Council is currently convening. For example, farmers or pantries or things like that. So yeah, that's what we're thinking about the climate change one. And yeah, it's still a little bit of a ways off, but I'll be sending out the registration and info about it probably in like early to mid-June. So keep an eye out for it. And then if you can share it out with anyone you think would be interested, that would be great.
Can I get an invite to the luncheon?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
everyone's invited.
So is it, the invite is through email?
Mhm.
Okay. And I had a question about, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there are a lot of like subscription boxes for meals, like the
Yeah.
factor meals or the harvest meals. Is there any collaboration with local food policies and getting like consumers connected to those that may not have like a shared program they can deliver, but they can get like a voucher from like Hungry Food subscription box or something like that that may help them get the same sort of benefits, but they can't necessarily make it to like a farmer's.
I don't know about, I wonder if some of the pantries might have replicated meal kit, like boxes like that, or the local version.
We have the senior food box program that's through the share program. Carla, I see, jumped off. She would have been able to speak more to that. And that's for
Yeah.
seniors.
We got a meal kit through a food pantry. Like, they have subscription boxes, like Hungry Root is a subscription box
Yeah.
that brings you like local produce, like fruits and vegetables, and you pay a monthly fee and they deliver it. But some people may not be able to afford the monthly fee. Is there like a way they can get a voucher for it? It's like a Hungry Root subscription plan or maybe a factory subscription plan that gives them meals, because with the cuts in Medicaid, these same consumers may not have access to Meals on Wheels, Moms and Meals, even Moms Meals and things like that. So is there a way where they can partner with commercial brands that are doing something similar, but have a voucher for someone that may be low income?
So there's one example of that I know that's in Pottstown. It's like a new pilot this year. So it's Max at the Best Route has partnered, so they're kind of like two farms basically that partnered together with Two Gander.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So that so Two Gander, yeah.
Yeah, they're calling it CSA, I guess, right?
Right, yeah. So yeah, they're essentially offering a subsidized CSA, which is, you know, that kind of like local box of kind of farm produce that I think, I don't know if it would be.
Yeah, I don't know if they like, I haven't seen any promo for that,
Yeah, I'm not sure, the
but
status of
maybe
it.
we'll look into that and Sam can email the name of, I'm sure they're. But I wonder if Two Ganders promoting it or the Best Route, if Best Route's like the lead,
Organizing it,
you know?
yeah.
So I should know that. He has a desk thing. It's not right for me. Yeah, I'll ask him. And I'll either get your contact or I'll send it to Sam.
So this is one of the farm table ones. It does like farm to family,
So they have a regular, you know, it's called the CSA program where you go, you know, you can go to the farm and you pay, I don't know exactly how they're set
Yeah.
up, but yeah, you pay kind of upfront for like a subscription kind of program and you get to pick up a box of produce from the farm every week. But they partnered with another farm based in Pottstown to be able to offer reduced price shares, basically, as you were saying, kind of for people who are low income, who can't afford the full subscription cost. But then to be able to still get those fresh, you know, fresh produce from the farm every week.
Yeah, so no coupon, I mean, I don't know, that would be, I think that's a great idea, I don't know, you know, how all the funding works. with
yeah, that's what I was
places.
thinking, like.
But yeah, but I'm sure, I think places wanna replicate that on a local level. You know, our own Hungry Route, it sounds like is sort of what they're trying to do. Then we get to, you know, the money stays in the community rather than some big national.
Yeah,
company.
that's true, that's true.
And you can probably meet the farmer yourself, so that's.
Yeah, thanks for the suggestion.
Yeah, I'll ask.
But yeah, we'll try and get you some more information about that program in Pottstown and send it over to you. Yeah. All right, so we have two more working group updates. First is on the policy committee. So Bree and Nicole had been planning to meet. I took over their meeting time. It was going to be the same time as our retreat. So we've rescheduled for I think it's early June. And I think given the conversation we had at the retreat around kind of looking at more county level policy, one of the things that Bree and I were talking about was kind of starting to put together a framework for how we would make, the Food Policy Council would make decisions about what policies we might want to try and pursue. And yeah, and what that process would look like. So that's the policy committee update. And then, yeah, last one is Core Community Council. We have our next Core Community Council meeting next week, next Thursday. Shannon is hosting at their workspace, their co-working space in Lansdale. And Shannon and I just met yesterday to go over the agenda, and we're both like feeling good about it. It seems like it's going to be a good conversation. We're going to try and do some breakout groups for the pantries based on their kind of like large and small pantries, you know, just like they have different needs, different challenges. So trying to see kind of what happens in those breakout groups would be interesting. But I don't know, Shannon, if you have anything else you want to add about that upcoming meeting.
No, just everybody's welcome to come. And if you haven't gotten to hang out with food pantry people and food bank people, they are the loveliest. I was just reminded this morning of it's just such great people, and you know, they're nice people to spend time with.
All right, anyone have any questions on any of the working group updates? Okay. So next on our agenda is some follow-up from our leadership team retreat. I think these will both be kind of quick updates, but just want to to share some quick updates. So for the strategic plan RFP, I know we looked at that during the retreat, and there was some kind of discussion and feedback, which was really helpful. So I've incorporated some of the feedback and some of the things that we talked about, like adding some kind of like network analysis or network mapping into the scope. And I can't remember off the top of my head what some of the other changes were, but I feel like that RFP is now in pretty good shape. So working to get the to get clarity on the process, what needs to happen to get it out. I'll be talking with some of our some of my HHS colleagues next week to clarify that, and can let you guys know once I have a sense of what the timeline will be. But I think the draft kind of scope of work is in good shape, and so we'll see what's needed to be able to get it out the door, basically. And then similarly, in terms of the Regional Food Systems Partnership Grant, I've been continuing to plug away on that grant application. Figuring out how to come together with a 25% cash match that's needed has been a little bit complicated. I think may have come up with a good solution as of yesterday, but still need to confirm. I think that some of the Food Policy Council, like the ARPA money, may actually be eligible for the match, which would be great. But anyways, still trying to figure that out. It's possible that we won't be able to get the match and then won't be able to submit the application. But again, if the ARPA funds work, then we should be in good shape there. So I think that's kind of the update on the Regional Food Systems Partnership Grant. Anyone have questions about either the strategic plan or the that USDA grant?
Sure, it's daunting, so thanks for your work.
It's
Thanks.
Yeah, it is a process for sure. But having the help of the grants team is, I mean, it's such a huge help. And we have like 2 more weeks. We still have some time. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah. All right, great. Well, we are like moving right through our agenda this morning. So we just have one more item then before our announcements and kind of wrap up stuff. But this is one thing we didn't really get. There are only a few folks by the end of the leadership team retreat. There are only a few folks left. And one thing we had started to talk about was just kind of how we work as a leadership team, basically, and trying to get a sense of like, we have to, during these meetings, we have to offer public comment, we have to approve our meeting minutes, but everything else is kind of up to us, how we want to structure things and how we want to do things. So I just wanted to kind of check in and see if people had thoughts or ideas of other things, during our leadership team meetings that would be helpful, ideas people had. I mean, I think, the example that Juliana had reached out and said, doing those kind of short presentations from different leadership team members is something that would be helpful. So, doing that, giving that as an example of something that we're able to try this morning. But yeah, really open to feedback here and about, either our meetings, how we structure them and what we cover, or just kind of other questions about the leadership team or things that would be helpful, for you all to participate in the leadership team. So yeah, just wanted to open that up, see if anyone had feedback, ideas, suggestions about the role of the leadership team here.
Just one general note, based on the discussion regarding, well, I think it's kind of multi, or it has a several complex kind of issue I've seen around delivering food or connecting services to individuals through, whether it's Meals on Wheels or whether it's going to a soup kitchen, going to a food bank, going to any of the services that have anything to provide. It all comes back to transportation. I worked on a farm yesterday and I had to drive 30 minutes, 20 minutes to get there to go work on the farm. I do a little local food rescue, but I still have to drive to get the food, to go get it, to take it to the soup kitchen. It always seems to come back to transportation, and it's a matter of, these are resources that are basically disconnected from from individuals who may be in need of receiving these services. It's like I feel like I'm always in a car trying to get these resources somewhere, connecting linkages. So I'm trying to think of how this can be narrowed down. And it's like, okay, that's the transportation part of it. It's like, wow, everything's so disconnected, it's fragmented. If there's a mechanism or a funding or an incentive for connecting through a transportation network to be able to get individuals these resources, it's almost like that's where the missing link is. And the leadership team can almost you know consider this as a possibility for directing the resources for incentivizing or looking as possible ways of saying, okay, all these things are out there. How do we get them to people in need, people that don't have transportation, and basically make those connections ultimately. That's just kind of that's kind of where I've kind of I'm having a final takeaway from what we've discussed here and what I've seen working in the field. So if we maybe can have a steering committee towards that, or if that's already established there, I'd love to be able to jump on it and try to brainstorm some ideas.
Cool, thanks, Tim. Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, and definitely agree with just kind of the importance of what you're saying, kind of looking at the intersection of transportation and food access, or the way in which transportation is a barrier to food access, both, you know, in terms of people who need food, like being able to get to, you know, having the transportation to get to food access points, whether those are stores or pantries or other places, but then also, as you're talking about, kind of the supply chain, the distribution, right, of food resources to pantries or other sites. Were you gonna say something,
Yeah,
Rachel?
I mean, my mind is, of course, goes a lot of different ways, but, what came to mind as you're speaking is, some work I did in St. Louis, with a lot of different farms is whenever we needed transportation, like a farm needed transportation to a delivery, we tried to utilize like another farm, and to be able to pay another farmer, you know, a delivery fee instead of, you know, a huge trucking company that's gonna charge lots of different money. So anyway, where my mind went to that is, like, there are a lot of different farms who have delivery vehicles or other businesses who might be open to like sort of a side gig of this sort of network of transportation vehicles that you could call and, you know, pay for a one-off delivery of sorts. So I don't know, I guess just where my mind goes is, how do you leverage these like smaller businesses that have transportation that would be open to something like that, to just call and say, I need to pick up. I am curious with your specific example, is the farm, like, are you harvesting yourself? Like, is it a gleaning situation? Is the farm not able to deliver to you?
Oh no, they have well, I mean, it's basically people go to this food bank to get whatever they need, essentially. I'm just a volunteer there, and basically I see folks coming. Um, but ultimately in the whole industry, it's like the cost. I mean, even if you do like a DoorDash, I mean, you look at the fees that are attached to that, it's incredible. I mean, it's
Yeah.
insane. So like Instacart, insane, just the amounts of money that goes into just the fees of the transportation end of it. And then you're talking about, you know, all layers of society. Basically it's all down to the fees and the cost of transportation, fueling to get to from one connection to the next. At the soup kitchen where I help out with individuals who can get over there, you know, it's within a central location, so a lot can walk, but others, you know, have to drive, and gas and fuel and transportation is expensive. So if there's some way, some mechanism to, you know, figure out how to offset some of those fees and those costs of, you know, the that those transportation problems, if you want to say, not everyone has a car ultimately. And it's like the world, we live in such a regional or sprawled kind of society. So getting to those places and getting that kind of getting the food, it's like, wow, there's just, it seems like there's a lot of time, a lot of wasted time on the road. And then there's a lot of people can't afford to, you know, be on the road all the time to get things they really need. So that's really what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think that that's something kind of through so I mentioned this regional food systems partnership grant. That's something where we'd be applying for to do a food action plan. And so I think that through that kind of planning process, you know, be able to look at and think a little bit more strategically about this issue, basically, like how do we try and address the transportation barriers that folks experience to food access. And yeah, I would also just mention that something I think at the core community council meeting, for example, where we're kind of bringing together all the different pantries and food banks, that we can try and bring that up at that meeting next week and get a sense of like how pantries are what they're seeing in regards to transportation barriers, how they're trying to address that, and what ideas they have as well, you know, beyond whatever it is they're doing kind of individually.
I feel like this is a two-sided problem, though, that you're bringing up, Tim. One is getting the farmers' products to their intended destination, especially if it is a smaller farmer, may not have the vehicles or the time, right? Because it takes time to bring everything to where it's going, and maybe there is more than one destination, and that's time that they're not spending farming. So there's that side of it, but there's also the other end that you're describing, that the pantry can't cater to the people who can't pick up the food themselves. So I was gonna say, I've been volunteering a little bit at the Jewish Relief Agency, which does a once a month food distribution volunteer event at their warehouse in Northeast Philly. And they use I don't know if this is the best way of doing it, but they basically ask the people who are coming to volunteer to pack up the food to then deliver it to the households of people that aren't picking up the food themselves. So it's only a once a month gig, but you can deliver to any number of destinations after you have, spent 45 minutes packing up boxes. So you can go out of your way to do it, but you could also hit up 5 or 6 households that happen to be on your way home. So there inevitably seem to be more people that need deliveries than there are delivery drivers. I don't know how they make up the difference, but that seems to work for them because they have been doing this for quite some time. But it takes the cost of the delivery or using DoorDash or whatever and puts that cost on the volunteer who is going there in the first place. So maybe that's something some of our local pantries could think about.
And I mean, while you're speaking to the fact, if we're having trouble from getting product from the farm to the pantry and then the pantry to the consumer, and if you could, wonder if maybe farm to consumer makes more sense. That's like one mode of transportation that we need to solve rather than two, or not mode, but channels of not that there's an answer to that, but I'm just
Right,
wondering.
but on a small scale, if I'm doing that volunteering, there's no reason why I can't pick up your farm's produce
Yeah.
and deliver it to where it's supposed to go, right? I'm go everywhere. So,
Yeah.
why couldn't that be my volunteer shift?
Right, but with gas prices, you might have a decrease in people that are willing to volunteer.
Yeah, I think we'd have to like really localize it, like, near my farm, for example, I could only pull volunteers and serve homes really close to me, like, I think, right?
Yeah, but there could be people who out of the kindness of their hearts say, well, I'm going to Rachel's farm anyway.
Yeah.
I'll deliver what you need to have delivered.
I think I was trying to explore that when I was bringing up the subscription boxes with the produce and the voucher, but I didn't, it'll still be a money issue because of funding.
I think I saw Shannon, were you trying to jump in?
Yeah, I mean, if there are farms that are interested in donating food directly to food insecure people, I bet Mon could match them with pantries that could say, all right, here's the person who needs it, and here's the volunteer driver to drive that route. But
I think Paula had said something similar, that they already have people who are out driving around, picking up food and delivering it, that there's no reason why that pickup couldn't be a farm.
Well, maybe this is,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, maybe this is a good time to bring up the PASS program, which I know that, is everyone familiar with the PASS program? Okay,
I am,
Pennsylvania.
Agriculture surplus
Surplus,
system.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
so surplus, this is an issue that Max has, another farmer, it's basically a program where it's to save produce that would be maybe thrown out, but not thrown out, but it's, still gives farmers, payment for their food, but that food typically goes to food pantries, I believe. So it's like $1 a pound around, or $2 a pound for produce that is purchased. However, what we've discovered locally is that the county pantries don't have the mechanisms to work with smaller farmers. Like you have to, in order to participate in this program, you have to have like truckloads of product, which then eliminates, you know, a lot of farms in the area, probably most farms in the area, that would like to, it's not donating, but it's still, you know, going into the system at a lower cost, but I would still be paid for that product. So that would be a great, I think, solution here to some of these things. I guess, or not directly, but,
So finding a way for smaller farmers to be able to be paid at least some small amount of
Lower
money for
cost,
the
yeah.
produce that they cannot sell.
Yeah.
And have it go into the emergency food system
Yeah.
without needing to scale up to be able to participate in the PASS program.
Yes,
Okay.
Just putting this out there, it might be a little far-fetched, but some home care agencies, depending on how far a personal care attendant has to travel, they will reimburse them for some form of travel. So let's say if, not the full amount, but let's say if someone with a disability had their home care aide go to these markets and pick up the food from could that be something that maybe can be reimbursed through the people that pay for like home and community-based services?
Also not sure about that one. Yeah, I'm not sure.
but that would be cool, I think. Yeah,
Maybe I could,
I
maybe
mean-
it's something that could be talked to with the MCOs to see if they would be able to cover that. Because I know some home care agencies also, if the consumer has an emergency, they will and need transportation, sometimes they'll send like a Uber for like a one-time emergency thing. So maybe it's something that I could try to ask the MCOs to see if that is something that they'll cover if we have a consumer that needs food pantry and food.
but you're thinking maybe a farm could utilize that service almost.
Or the consumer can utilize those services to get to the farm to
Oh,
pick up,
okay. Yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, providing transportation, if Shannon, if you're saying like some pantries can actually go pick up, that would probably incentivize farmers to donate, right? If they don't have to go do a delivery either, you know, it's some sort of cost relieved to them, you know, even if they can't participate in PASS or be paid at all, that would at least, you know, be a great service.
If you
DoorDash- Sorry,
thoughts about farms that would be interested in that, I'd love to connect with you, and we can pick up and help match with food pantries, like we can help with the deliveries.
Okay, cool. I can reach out to you, because I actually have some veggies this week that I don't have a market for, so.
Oh, awesome.
Okay. Well, I will reach out to you.
Great.
But also like big picture, this just gets me thinking about, I think a lot of little collaborations are born from this like open conversation. So I'm wondering, to answer your original question of our leadership team role, is if we can have a portion of our meetings that are like, who has a problem is all, or who has a topic, and then we kind of just talk through it and see if some immediate action can be taken. I know a lot of these, obviously like a fleet of local transportation is a tough problem to solve, but maybe just small collaborations can be built out of this.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that suggestion. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good example
Yeah.
of like this connection that seemed like it just happened that that, as you said, kind of came out of just a more open conversation. So we can put it on the agenda and see what happens. And it's a good segue back to any other suggestions, ideas, feedback that people have about leadership team our leadership team meetings, things that we could do, like to see in future meetings.
And I was gonna ask you the same question about the leadership team. Let's throw it back to you. You are a shop of one,
Mhm.
and you are juggling a lot of county food and farm related tasks. What do you wish the leadership team could step in with?
Ooh, that's
Are you
a great
looking
question.
for guidance? Are you looking for help with a particular task? Are you looking for collaboration on a bigger project? I mean, what would serve you?
More of the doing part too, right?
What do you mean more than doing?
Like, maybe less advising, but maybe just like more like, hey, I just need someone to reach out to this person and connect with them, or get back to this person about someone asked me about the leadership team, and like you said, sometimes you're bogged down by that.
Yeah.
So,
I think that a lot of how the way that I was thinking about the leadership team more recently is I think like the Regional Food Systems Partnership grant, you know, like reached out to some members of the leadership team to lead parts of that, right? So like the planning around farmers and food production. I was like, all right, Rachel, like, can you like work on that part? And like, Davey, can you do the food waste part? And Shannon, can you do the food security part? So I think that's kind of how I've been thinking about or tapping into the leadership team in general is when there are like another example with the lunch and learn and the kind of desire to do a workshop around more like at-home composting. I was like, oh, that's something like seems like aligned with Davey and the sustainability office. So like can connect, and then that can be kind of a collaboration there. So yeah, I think like as things come up, or like the food business workforce meeting that I'll mention in a little bit, like working with not working directly with Jenny on that one, but working with Commerce to kind of, so that's how I've been recently thinking about the leadership team more as like having the people in place so that when there are things that come up in related to different aspects of the food system, it's like those are the people I can turn to that like we'll do a thing together. Yeah, I don't know if that's an answer to your question, but that's something I was thinking about recently, and I think also like having a place to be able to come back and I think like with the mentorship program, for example, as we were first talking about that, there were some really good suggestions from this group about like make sure you do training for mentors so that you kind of set some expectations with them. And and like some of the other, like having a group of people that are all aware of all of the things that are happening is helpful.
With the at-home composting, is that something that people that are in apartments can do? Like, let's say if you're in a subsidized apartment and there are like rules and restrictions, the at-home composting can still work for them, right? Or is this?
yeah, I mean, I think that's what we're trying to figure out is like, if there's an interest, like, how could we cater to that group of people, you know? So, it's open to.
What is the next food policy meeting? Because I can try to come up with some stuff and see if I can bring it to the next meeting.
Great.
And you can always reach out to us too. You don't have to wait for the meetings.
True. It's the 4th Friday in June. I don't have the date off the top of my head, but it would be June.
Or, I mean, if you want to come to the next network development. working
Yes.
group that might be a little bit more focused
Yeah,
on
that's a good
the
point.
composting.
Yeah, so that next network development working group, I'll add that to my list of things to send you. Yeah, I don't have the date off
The
top of my
next
head, but-
leadership team meeting is Friday, June 26th. It'll just be virtual, so.
Okay.
We'll come
Yeah.
here, which is nice. And then the next network.
Third Thursday, June. There's not one on there?
Be all the teams.
Maybe not.
No, I didn't switch them over yet, yeah.
Um,
It could be that they just expired and I need to create
Oh,
new
yeah.
meeting invites, but I'll look
Also,
into that.
Anyway, I think that would be a good. If you don't, I'm not gonna invite you. It's open to anyone anyway, but yeah, I think that would be a good place to come with ideas.
Okay,
Or just if you don't have ideas, you can just come. We can create ideas together.
okay, oh, yeah, I'm ready to start looking into stuff like that.
All right, we have about 10 minutes left, just less than 10 minutes. We have a few announcements, things I wanted to mention before we wrap up. Oh, I realized also, before we do that, in terms of the leadership team role, just to wrap that conversation up. If folks have other ideas, things that you think about after the meeting, feel free to send them to me, or if there are things that you can also send them to our vice chairs, Shannon and Bree, if there's anything that you'd feel more comfortable discussing with them. Just want to make sure that was an invitation that folks had. But I also wanted to mention we had, or I had asked folks about their interest in continuing on the leadership team. So want to let folks know that there are 3 people who are going to be rolling off the leadership team in August in a few months. I think Christy from OAS, we're going to have a new OAS representative in August. And Jenny also from Commerce, we're going to have a new Commerce representative in August. And then Juliana is also going to be leading the leadership team. And so talking to the commissioner's office now about what the process is going to be for the one kind of well, it's the community representative seat that Juliana's in. So yeah, we have a few more months with Christy and Juliana and Jenny with us, but wanted to let folks know that that's everyone else was interested in staying on, which is great. So. All right, yeah, with that, the last few announcements that I had, things that I wanted to share. One is that I'm on the wrong computer. The Food Policy Council, our 2025 impact report is finally complete. So I'm gonna just do a quick preview of it here, but I can also send this out for, I mean, it'll go out via email to our whole email list, and we're putting it on the website and all that kind of stuff. But I can give you a quick preview of it here. I think Anne and I were talking about, I think it's Living Hope Farm, but I'm not positive. So yeah, intro letter. But then we have our mission and vision and our all of our leadership team members. Again, this is our 2025 report. So some of our other older leadership team members. Overview of our general membership meetings, kind of description of where they were and what happened at each of them, with a few pictures there. We've got summary of our working group work and an overview of the number of meetings and attendees that we had. Yeah, just a paragraph about core community council. I reached out to Shannon. I was like, "Do we have any pictures from any core community council meetings?" And we're like, No, we don't. So maybe that's a reminder on Thursday. We can try and take at least one. But yeah, a little summary of an adventure with some quotes from some of the people who participated, which is nice. And you can't see it, but you and Will are covered by the adventure bingo card right there. You're sitting at the registration table, so
Okay.
there you go, covered up. Yeah, summary of our food systems infrastructure grants, showing kind of where those projects are throughout the county, and description of each of the projects. And we've got, oh yeah, a picture from the check presentation event.
I would love the opportunity to go see some of those projects
Yeah.
once they're done.
Yeah. I was thinking that either,
John, yeah, okay.
yeah, I was thinking either our September general membership meeting, depending on kind of where the different projects are in process, or December one could be good opportunities to highlight some of those projects. Projects there, yeah. Yeah, then we have some about the SNAP response, just kind of overview of some of the things that we did and pictures from that press conference event. And then we have some, Rachel and Bree both gave quotes about some of the connections, the collaboration that was able to happen through the Food Policy Council, as well as Tori there. And we've got our communications chart and a paragraph about what's next. So that's our impact report.
What were the names of the two meetings you guys were talking about that was coming up? One was
There's this group, which is the leadership team. So that's the one that Anne mentioned is June, I think it was, did you say 26th? And then the network, so yeah, it's the leadership team meetings, and then the other one is the network development working group. Yeah. we have to-
I mean, it might be scheduled, but sometimes finding things on my phone is hard.
Okay, so then two last announcements. One is our general membership meeting is confirmed for Friday or Thursday, June 25th. Yeah, that's the day before our next leadership team meeting. And that is at the Deaver Wellness Farm at Lakenaw Medical Center. It's gonna be from 3 to 4:30. And yeah, I'm excited. They're gonna give us a nice tour of their garden, their farm, and talk about the different partnerships that they have. So that will be cool. We only have a few people registered so far, so I'll also send out that registration link. So if you can help send it out to get the word out, that'd be great. And then, yeah, the last thing I wanted to mention, I just mentioned this briefly earlier, but I've been working with some folks in the Commerce Department and with Anne to do to put together a meeting for food business owners to hear about their workforce needs and challenges. This came out of a conversation that had with a restaurant owner about some of her workforce challenges and some ideas she had, and she was like, it'd be really great to bring a bunch of food business owners together to be able to talk about that and network and come up with ideas. So we're looking at June 30th as the date for that. Still, yeah, not 100%, but we're trying to finalize the meeting information now. And I wanted to mention, and particularly in light of our conversation at the leadership team retreat about kind of like expanding our outreach and identifying some, groups that we don't have as much participation with. And I think that this is one example, of an effort to do some outreach to a new audience. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Are they mostly small businesses or just? No.
Well, we don't have the
It's
date and
finally
time and
details.
location
Yeah.
together, but once we do, then we'll be doing outreach, and the Commerce Department is gonna kind of take the lead on that because they have relationships with directly with some of the business owners, but then also through the chambers of commerce and other kind of outlets. So yeah, I don't know who is going to be interested and who's going to respond, but yeah. All right, does anyone else have other announcements or yeah, anything they want to share with the group before we wrap up here?
Sam, just an update on Commissioner Winder's father's service. For those who aren't aware, Commissioner Winder's father died, and his service is this coming Friday. It's at Salem Baptist Church in Abington, and that's this coming Friday.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Brandon. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Bok choy, if anyone likes it.
All right, Rachel's got bok choy. Great. Well, thanks for joining, everyone. It's good to see you all. Hope you have a good rest of your day and a good weekend.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Good to see you all.